Good evening. How are you doing today? I hope you have been enjoying the weather. It is actually getting a little bit cooler, which is so acceptable. Since school starts back on Wednesday, which I am not ready for. Okay, tonight we are going to do a technique called Ink Smooshing. And ink smooshing really is a great technique to get you a background, whether it's a background for a card or a background for a scrapbook page, but it gives you the ability to create something so unique, and it's never going to be the same each time that you do it. Okay, I'm going to show you a sample of one that I did as I was preparing for our Sunday Fun Days. This is an ink smooshing that I used Carolina and Melon ink. Now tonight we're going to do it two different ways. I'm going to do it first with the ink, and then I'm going to do it a second time with re-inker, which will give you a whole different look. Okay, so this is one look, and this is the first one that we're going to do tonight. So when you get here, if you could just type in the chat that you're here. I believe I see Carla's here and Patty's here. Excellent. Okay, so let's kind of get started with our supplies. We're going to need a piece of cardstock as your base, 4 1/4 by 11, and I scored it at 5 1/2. So this is a top load. It could also be a side loader this way, which is actually the way I'm going to use it tonight. Then you will need a piece of cardstock because this is going to go on top. So that will be your 4 by 5 1/4. You will need a piece of white that's 3 1/2 by 4 1/2, and that's actually going to be the piece that we're going to use. I'm not using any special paper. This is not watercolor paper, which again would give you a whole nother look. And then a circle or shape of some sort that's like 2 1/2 by 2 3/4, and then I just pulled some ribbon. I pulled a stamp, I pulled some stars that are all kind of in my same color palette. So let's kind of get started. All right, I'm going to move a few things off of my table, well actually out of my way, so that then we're able to do this technique. So let me move a few things. I'm going to pull in a multi-purpose mat. This is the one that I had purchased from Close to My Heart. It was a very long one, and all I did was I cut it into 6 pieces so that it is a little more manageable for me to use. So we're going to take our piece that is 3 1/2 by 4 1/2, and I'm going to pull in Melon ink and Carolina ink, and then I just have a little squirt bottle, and all that is water inside. Okay, so I'm going to start with the Melon. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to smear a little onto my multi-purpose mat. And you know what? I'm going to bring the camera down just a little so that you are able to see what I'm doing. And now I'm going to squirt or spritz onto my mat. All right, I'm going to take my paper and I'm just going to gently smush my paper into right where I have those ink splots. And as you can see, this is right where it was really concentrated, so I got this type of a look. Now there's these littler water droplet ones, so I'm just going to press, and now I get something a little different. Now if I don't press on it and I just lightly let it tap on its own, you're going to get a softer look. I'm going to just press a little bit. Okay, that's looking pretty good. And now I'm just going to use a Kleenex to wipe up my surface. You could use a wet wipe or a paper towel, something that's going to help you to dry that up. Okay, now I'm going to bring in the Carolina so that I can do the second color. And again, I'm going to spritz. And the more water you put on, the more diluted it will become. Look how cute this is already looking. I'm really loving this background. And I think I need a little more blue. So I'm going to add a little more. There we go. I kind of want it to intermix with the melon, just to give me a different effect. And you really want to be gentle, only because it is paper, and paper will rip with a lot of water. So I'm just being really kind and gentle as I'm pressing. Okay, so that is the first one. All right, and I'm going to let this set aside to dry just for a few moments. It won't take long. So in the meantime, I'm going to clear my mat. And this time, we're going to use some re-inkers. I'm going to start this time with Carolina. No rhyme, no reason. I'm going to put a drop there and a drop there of Carolina. And I'm going to do 2 drops of Melon at the same time. And now I'm going to spritz. This time I need to add a lot more water because a re-inker is concentrated ink. And actually, I think I'm going to let it just kind of run around a little together. And now I can be really quick with this. I do have my windows open, so if you hear an ambulance, it's not coming here. Now, do you notice how one is very concentrated versus the one that I did with the ink pad? I have more of like a speckled look. So it is definitely a different look. And this one, my paper is really getting wet. And there we go. I'd say that one is done. And you could do each color separately. And I have a spare piece of white sitting right here. So let's try that as well. So I'm going to start with Carolina. I'm going to do 1 drop. So there, that's with just the 1 color. I'm gonna wipe that up. And we're gonna do Melon as just 1 color as well. And this technique actually would look fabulous with watercolor paper because it will absorb, and then it's just gonna run down and give you those fantastic streaks. I don't have any currently at the house. The resident artist has it at his apartment. So I don't have any watercolor paper here to show you. So I'm just going to clean this up. Real easy. All right. Let's move that out of our way. Do a little straightening up. Okay, so I'm going to bring in the 3 pieces just so that you could see them again. So this first one here was done with ink pads, and each color separate with the water. And it was a little bit of water and a little bit of ink. This one was both re-inkers done at the same time with a lot of water. And then this one here is each color of the re-inker done individually with, again, a lot of water. And they are very flexible because they are still very damp. So I am actually going to use this one where it is more speckled. Okay? I'm just checking to see if we have any comments. So far we don't. I don't think so. Nope. No comments yet. Okay, excellent. So again, this white piece was 3.5 by 4.5. Okay, and I am going to bring in my cardstock that is 4 by 5.25. So this piece is going to lay on top. Now I need to decide, do I want, I pulled this ribbon because I thought, oh, it looks so pretty with that melon color. And I think I would want to tie it around the white, not around the blue. So I'm going to wiggle the blue up. And now I just have to decide right where I want it. It is still a little damp to the touch. There we go. Figured, oh, we should use some ribbon. We haven't used ribbon in a long time. Okay. Trim that off. So now I have my ribbon on, and I like that. That looks nice. All right, so let's put some adhesive on the back, and I think I'm going to use my Tombow. And I'm going to be kind of generous because with all that water, it's sort of warped. Like the paper itself is warped. So I would want it to be flat on my card. I might as well put a little bit right there in the middle. All right, we're gonna center this. Let's get my blue. There we go. And now I'm gonna center this. So it gives me 1/4 of an inch, roughly, on all my sides. There we go. Doesn't that already look so, so pretty? Okay, now let's bring in our embellishment pieces. So I have my circle, and I think I'm going to allow that to get tucked. Yes, that I totally love. I'm going to put my flower maybe there, but I definitely want to put my stars. Oh, I should have put my stars down first. All right, let's see if I can get that circle up. Oh, I can. Excellent. Phew. Because I think I want the stars down first. Mm-hmm. Yes, I do. This star was cut from a die. It was a close to my heart die that was a slimline. And all I did was I just trimmed it over here on this edge. And I'm just going to make sure that edge lays flush to the bottom of that white card piece. Okay. Let's slide that under our ribbon. And I'm just going to press that down. Nice. Okay, now we can bring in that circle. Oh, there we go. All right, and now the flower is definitely going to get some foam because I don't want it to be flat. In 2 seconds, we'll do that. I just want to get this pin back into my Barely Art glue. There we go. All right, so let's put some foam. Let's do some dimensionals. Isn't it amazing how summer can fly by, but yet also feel like it was here for an eternity? Look how pretty that looks already. Okay, let's get this onto the front of our card. All right, adhesive for this. Now I am switching over to my Stampin' seal, because it is definitely a stronger adhesive bond that I've noticed. All right, so let's put that on. There we go. All right, we definitely need some gems. And I think before I do any gems, I think I'm going to grab, I want a little more splatter feel. So I think I'm going to grab maybe the Melon shimmer brush. Let's see. Let me just bring them all over here to you guys. So I have mine in a carousel just so that I can see them quicker. All right, I believe this might be Melon right here. It is. Okay, so get that off the table for a second. I'm just going to bring this back in. So I can give it a little squeeze. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's a little bit better. That's more what I wanted. So I'm just going to wipe that up. Now, Stampin' Up has a little mat that's just like this. It's a silicone mat. And it really does help when you're doing messy things. Okay, and then the other thing I think this might need, I'm going to do a doodle line. There's these little dots on my star. So what I think I'm going to do will be dots and dashes. So let's start off with a dash and go into some dots. I'm going to turn the card. Now, I did post yesterday inside this group all of the upcoming card classes for the remainder of 2025. So that would be September, October, November, and December. All of those classes have been posted. So those are the $10 classes. If you need it mailed to you, please add an additional $5 so that then I can do the postage to you. And I also posted the Christmas card workshop. We will be making 20 cards. There are 10 designs, so you will make 2 of each. And if you're unable to be in person with me, I will send you photographs of the cards. Everything will be cut for you. There is no stamping required other than your insides, and you can do those at home. And if you do decide to come for the in-person, I will have stamps out for you to use for the interior of the cards. Doesn't that look pretty? And this card could be anything. It could be a retirement, a congratulations, a birthday, a thinking of you. It's just really anything that you would want your little heart to desire for this card to be. Isn't that fun? Now, next week's card, we will be doing heat embossing on glitter paper. Did you know you could do that? You can. I'm going to show you a sample. That is heat embossing on glitter paper. Pretty cool. Isn't that neato? I thought that turned out so cool. And it doesn't come off. So this is what we're going to learn next week. So make sure you have out your glitter paper. You will need embossing powder, a Versamark ink pad, and a stamp set, of course. Okay, so that will be next week. Next week we will be doing heat embossing on glitter paper, and then the following Sunday night we will be doing a scrapbook page. So I hope you enjoyed tonight's class or Sunday Fun Day, and I will see you next week. And this video will be moved over to YouTube probably tomorrow. I don't anticipate turning the computer on tonight, so I will probably take care of it tomorrow. So make sure you head over there to watch it after 30 days goes by, because Facebook deletes things, which is just so wonderful. All right, so have a great evening, and I'll see you all real soon. Good night.